The hosts of bracketology are experts in nothing. They claim no advanced knowledge or profound insights. Instead, they are just three judgmental idiots who really like to bloviate their own opinions whenever given the chance. Take what they have to say with a grain of salt, or not at all. You'll probably be better off that way.
So, we've been talking about wrestling for the past couple of weeks. And it's
We
dawned
have?
on me, yes, and it's dawned on me, I have never asked you guys this question. If we weren't all generic, middle-aged, overweight white guys, and we were in the wrestling business, what three power moves, like finishers, would you have?
You're asking this question like I haven't thought about this for decades.
Yeah,
right?
I figured both of you would have thought about it. So I get a chance to listen and ridicule.
So obviously, there's one move that is the best move, in my opinion, and that is a stunner, which would be one of mine. Yes, the stunner is great, especially when you have someone that can sell. Love me a Stone Cold Stunner. So I would love to have some kind of stunner.
Specific stunner.
Um,
Because there's a lot of variations of that, like RKO, Diamond Cutter.
Well, kind of, right? Because a lot of those, there are two different ones. Because the stunner specifically, you go down on your butt while they, come. Whereas most of those other ones are cutters, and cutters are straight to the back, right? So you grab them and you go down. So like Diamond Cutter, RKO, those are all relatively just cutters. Whereas the stunner is unique and gives an opportunity for people to shine. But yes, Stone Cold specifically.
Okay.
I just feel like I would want something that actually looks like it hurts for real.
Pedigree?
I mean, yeah, that's probably closer.
Original pedigree, where you don't let go of their arms and they just land.
They just go face into the mat. Yeah.
Quick story, randomly. I have a sister who was always kind of mean to me. Like as children, we had a trampoline. I'd be mid jump on the trampoline and she'd just push me off, kind of mean. So one time I pedigreed her,
that explains so much.
In front of my parents, like just kicked her in the stomach. I was like 9, and I was like, "This bitch."
You like full up kicked her in the stomach, hooked her arms, and did the pedigree.
Wow. I mean, I was a child, to be fair. But
was this on trampoline or on what was the surface we're talking about? Gravel driveway? Like how bad was it?
No.
Shattered glass.
It was just Legos all over the floor.
Just molten rock. Yeah, it was insane. Anyway, so stunner.
All right, stunner, and Scott went with the pedigree.
Pedigree-ish. He hasn't actually said.
I didn't officially settle on that. I mean, this is a reality where anything's possible, right?
Correct.
So mine's probably going to be something top rope.
Oh, well, that's going to... Yeah, no, I start with a stunner, and then I go up top to do a swanton.
Oh, because it's 3 moves. So we're talking about like our whole setup then. Okay, exactly. Then yeah, I'm doing a pedigree in the corner first. I'm gonna take them down that way.
And then you're gonna hit them with the frog splash.
Yeah, I mean something to that effect. Because like, here's the thing: the elbow drop.
Thinking about your belly doing a frog.
Again, this is a reality where I'm not an overweight 36-year-old man. Oh, excuse me, 37-year-old man.
You do have a very similar body like length, like proportions in your arms and everything to like Dominic Mysterio.
I'm going for the haircut too. I'm
yeah,
gonna go for the haircut.
Got to get the haircut.
I was going to say Rikishi, but
I'm going to stink face your ass next time I see you. I mean, I never liked the elbow drop really because again, like it's too. It doesn't. I don't think it gives enough of a story to be sold, I guess. So yeah, I want something full body. I mean, I want that contact, you know.
I was thinking you're almost like a coup de grace kind of guy.
That's scary.
It's so terrible. Every time I see that happen, I'm like, oh, why?
Yeah. That's because like
I feel like we need to explain this to Dan. So
Yeah.
a coup de grace is Finn Balor's finishing move. He goes up to the top rope and then jumps off and lands feet first on somebody's chest.
Just stomps them right in the chest. And I mean, granted, he lands very light-footed, gingerly, and like he sweeps his own leg basically to conceal it. But like, there's a lot of room for error. I feel like with that one.
I'm not trusting anybody but that man to do that.
Yeah.
Basically.
And like a swanton would be cool, but that's a lot of pain on my back. I think I want to go more frog splash because it's that whole body contact, but it's also a very safe maneuver in the long run.
It's protected,
technically speaking. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going pedigree in the corner, climbing the ropes, frog splash. That's 2 of the 3.
All right.
You got to do a submission for your third one.
The third has to be a submission.
It has to be a submission?
Yes.
It can't be like a cool roll into like a unique type of pin or something?
Nope. Submission.
I like this audible.
Then I'm probably, I don't really know. I don't tend to keep a lot of submission names. What's the one? So I'm going to frog splash. And then I'm going to go
Walls of Jericho.
I'm going to have to do a 180 frog splash for this positioning.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. So
you're going like Twisted Bliss frog splash.
Twisted Bliss, 180 frog splash, land on them. And then as they writhe in pain, they writhe toward the corner. That's going to be, they're going to have to make sure they remember to do toward the corner. I'm going to grab knees and shoulders and then roll them up.
Oh, you're doing doing the stretch.
Doing a surfboard on my knees and stretching their back out until they tap.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a hell of a chain, to be honest.
I'm an impressive pro wrestler.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Now I want to get WWE 2K, whatever the fuck they're on,
and make that move set.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, stunner for sure. Definitely a swanton. Like, I think there is something. I think it's less impressive now, but when Jeff Hardy started the swanton, just the swan dive last minute, move your head to land on someone just looks great.
There's just no way to do that where one of the two of you is not taking a frequent beating, you know?
Yeah,
no, for sure. That's why Jeff Hardy is so fucked up now.
Oh, yeah.
His body is racked with pain because of that move.
Sure.
And then I think that I almost wanted to say sharpshooter for my submission, but I think I like just the crossface. I think the crossface it's subtle, but it's like in control.
Are you bringing it back?
I think we got to bring it back for the boys.
Bold choice.
All right.
Yeah. What are your moves, Dan?
Yeah. Come on, your turn.
So
hold on. Let me guess. Let me guess.
Okay.
All right. First, headbutt, nose first.
No.
Oh.
Because in this world, look, this nose wasn't built for professional wrestling. It was built for a form of entertainment, not professional wrestling.
Okay.
He blows up balloon animals with his nose.
Yeah, but 2 at a time. No, so first move is going to be a tombstone pile driver. I'm putting everybody on risk. I'm going tombstone pile driver because that is impressive. It looks like it hurts.
You're breaking necks left and right.
Yeah, exactly. Ending careers. Then I don't think I'm going to have a top rope move.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've seen you climb in and out of a golf cart, and that was already dangerous enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, we're talking about not my actual body doing these things.
It's just hard to imagine, you know?
I was always a big fan of the 619.
Okay, so instead of top rope, you're going middle rope. I can do that.
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
And then my submission move is going to be the Scorpion Deathlock.
So how are you getting from 619 to Scorpion Deathlock?
So they're on the ropes. I swing around and kick them. They fall back. I go in, get the legs, flip them over.
Just It's straightforward transition.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Nothing fancy, no smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
All right. So
Ooh,
bracketeers.
I changed my mind.
Oh shit. Okay.
All right, I want to give the crossface back to the dead, and I want to. Scott's like, "Ooh, don't know if that's gonna land." And I
was alluding to it. You got real specific. We're gonna get canceled.
I want to do. I want to do the triangle hold, like the triangle death lock that
Undertaker's
Undertaker took
triangle?
on.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice.
It's a good thing that this conversation has alienated half of our audience, because I'm pretty sure we'd be canceled.
Immediately, we had lost them in our first. When I said stunner, they were gone. Like if most of the audience was like, "No, this one's not for me."
Like, what the fuck is a scorpion death lock or a tombstone podger? None of this makes any fucking sense out of context.
Have you ever put someone in or had the scorpion death lock put on you?
Yeah, I had a little sister growing up.
It hurts. Like, if you lock it in, and the figure 4 also hurts like a bitch.
Well, the figure 4 is designed to literally hurt. Like, it is not just it's not just a good looking move.
You know, I'm sorry. I'm now you're gonna get me on a brief tangent, and maybe I should save this for the episode. I'm gonna save it for the episode. All right.
On that note, well, he's gonna forget that. So
no, I'm gonna here. I've got a giant notepad whiting out my screen. I'm gonna write it down now.
All right. So on that note, we'll see you in the episode.
We've never had an outro to our cold open. Hello and welcome back to Bracketology, the podcast that definitively decides all things tournament bracket style. Excuse me! I'm Scott Grubb. Have fun editing that.
Absolutely hated that so much. I'm too cool, Matt Robinson.
And it doesn't matter what your name is, because I'm Dan Default.
Took us 4 episodes to get to the one that actually makes sense.
Yeah. This week, we continue determining the Legendariest WWE champion. We have made it halfway through the Too Sweet 16. We've got 8 remaining combatants, 4 matches. Guys, do we want to start Modern Age or Attitude Age? Where do we want to go?
I think it's important that we go top down. You know what I mean? I was trying to make that sound cooler than it actually was. Let's just go top down.
Let's get that top off.
There we go. Damn it.
Speaking of top off.
Pop that top.
Our first matchup, Triple H versus Steve Austin. Did you see, have you guys seen the clip before where Triple H back in his DX era is in the ring and he's like getting the girl to take her to show her boobies? Have you seen that?
I have.
It's pretty funny.
That.
Yeah. Anyway,
this is a classic and many times a main event.
This is a WrestleMania match right here.
Yeah.
Dude.
WrestleMania, like, I don't know, 14, 18, somewhere in that range.
Sure. Yeah, somewhere around that.
Yeah. Thinking about it that way makes me realize how old I am. So moving on, because they're doing 40 this year.
So this one's hard for me because I think that Steve Austin is, in my opinion, one of the top 2 greatest personalities in WWE history. Not just his in-ring work, but his out-of-ring work, his post-wrestling work as well, right, with his podcast and other things. But Steve Austin is just he's the man. Like, he just is. He was, like, kind of hard even to have him as a heel when they tried. However, Triple H that's long-standing, constant workhorse. All of his matches were bangers, right? Like, well, maybe not all, but most of his matches, he would elevate himself and anybody else that was in the ring with him.
And he
Steve
was
Austin,
versatile.
he was very versatile
because he could do both. He was the Foley to Steve Austin quite a bit. He was the heel to Steve Austin's face quite a bit. And then when he took on DX and became face that way, he excelled in both categories.
Well, and even not even necessarily just with DX, right? I think it's important. Sure. Like one of the biggest return pops that I ever saw in wrestling was after Triple H's double hamstring fucking or quad tears that he had. Like both of his legs were torn to shreds. And the package that they put together for his return, and then him actually coming out with the leather jacket with a ripped off jean jacket on top of it, just stupid. It was dope as hell. And he was just loved like immediately. So he didn't always even have to be his like comedic self to be a good face. Like he was also just an intense fucking dude, and that worked well for faces in some cases. But man, it's Steve Austin. Like that's such a hard.
Yeah. So here's my. I think Triple H has had a longer career than Stone Cold. But I don't think Triple H ever got as big as Stone Cold was during his hype. So,
yeah, explain.
Well, I mean, Stone Cold turned what into a thing, right? Stone Cold, I think, beats Triple H in terms of mic skills. Not to say that Triple H is bad, but Stone Cold was electrifying when he had the mic. And then even before his Stone Cold personality days, like even before that, before he got into the WWE, he was, what was that wrestling?
Stunning Steve is what he was called before.
Well, so he was in he was in WCW, and then
Stunning Steve Austin.
He got fired and went to a smaller wrestling production where he basically just talked shit about the WCW. And you could see the makings of the Stone Cold character there. But once that was him. And once he found that, I mean, it was just incredible. But I mean, Triple H has been such a huge part of the business. This is really tough for me because again, I don't think Triple H's height ever reached where Stone Cold was.
Yeah, but I don't know that anybody's got to the same absolute peak as Stone Cold.
I can think of one or two.
Yeah, same.
But at the same time, I don't know like what's more important, height or consistency.
Like, and Dan, I get what you're saying, because like if you think about it from again kind of a metric standpoint, would it let's say, did Steve Austin make $1 million a year in t-shirt sales? Sure. But for every million he made, I bet Triple H made 900,000 at some point. I mean, when you think about the DX shirts and all that, like his popularity definitely got to that point. And if you don't think he's electric on the microphone, well, then I got two words for you.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying he's not as good as Steve Austin.
I think when it comes to Steve Austin and I think you're right that he reached a pinnacle. He reached a height that
only one or two,
maybe
others.
2 or 3, maybe 2 others have met before he reached that pinnacle.
Yeah.
But I would say that his peak, not by any means is it a flash in the pan, but compared to Triple H's, it's a flash in the pan. Triple H was there in the 80s. He was having matches against Doink the Clown back in the day as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. He transitioned. He's had the biker character. He's had the King of Kings character. He's had DX. He's been the aristocrat Frenchman with the... I mean, he's been so many different things, and that longevity in the ring alone, I think, and his ability to again adapt, I think, are both things to be rewarded here. And then out beyond that, what he has done since taking charge in WWE from the corporate and the creative side, the growth that he's built in that company, the visibility that it's hitting ratings today closer to what it did in the 90s than it has in like 2 decades. I mean, it's remarkable the reach that he's developed, the relationships he's developed, the money that he's brought in, the talent he's brought in, the better working conditions he's created. Like, I think all of that, ultimately, you ask any of these guys, they're still going to tell you that what they do is a business, and his impact on the business is still part of his career, I think.
Yeah. Well, and it's 2 different types of impact, right? We talked about Hulk Hogan and the impact that he had on the business, but that was really by name recognition. Hunter, sure. Triple H, Hunter Hearst,
Paul Levesque.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easier to say.
His impact was actually him behind the scenes, making business decisions, making creative decisions, and actually driving the business.
Sure. Yep.
I don't think that Triple H ever got, again, as big as, Hulkamania or Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he drove the business, I think, in a much more difficult way.
I mean, I feel like you're not quite giving him, because that's still relatively recent. Like, just for the last 10 years or so has Triple H been involved in the creative aspect, but for 30 years, damn near, he was WWE. Like, whether he was a part of the greatest faction or one of 2 greatest factions of all time with DX, or if it was just him going against the man, or him stealing Stephanie McMahon and taking her to a drive-through wedding ceremony and then actually getting married to her, whatever the case may be, like, the man had draw.
Or Evolution, or the feud with The Undertaker revolving around Steph. I mean, there was so much.
He had such a draw, and realistically, there are very few people that get an entire championship belt in my mind that is associated with them. And with Triple H, it's the World Heavyweight Championship. Mm-hmm. Like, that big gold WCW championship, when they brought that over, that belt became epitomed with Triple H in my eyes. The only other person that does that is John Cena with the spinner belt, and then Stone Cold with the Smoking Skulls belt. But that one never became a much, that was just specific for him. So I don't know. Triple H has a lot more going for him than just the business side, but I understand what you're saying, because that is a big part to what he's done lately, especially.
Here's, I think, in the interest of time, we should probably move to a vote. But here's what I want you guys to really imagine, right? Play in this sandbox. You are at a WrestleMania. It is 2002. Whose music are you going to get excited about hearing more? Triple H's or that glass shattering?
Even going to music, realistically, man, both of these guys have great theme songs, like fucking Motorhead in 2002, giving Triple H's...
Performing it live at WrestleMania was not that long ago.
It was great. Like, I don't know, man. Like, just the game. And talk about somebody with nicknames. Like, Steve Austin gave himself a lot of the nicknames that, kind of came up, and Stone Cold came from him and his wife talking. Triple H has had so many nicknames that have just been bestowed on him. The Game, the Cerebral Assassin,
King of Kings.
The King of Kings, like, to the point where, and I think that it was built out of respect. Cody Rhodes, when he debuted in AEW, his competing promotion that he helped start, his whole thing was breaking the throne of the King of Kings. Like, it was a direct, I don't want to say slam, but it was a direct shot. Triple H reference. Like, it was a direct shot. I don't know. If you want to get to a vote, I think we should, or else I can continue to talk about this forever, but I'm not going first.
Triple H is going in the Hall of Fame this year, too, for the second time. Third time?
Third time.
Evolution, DX, and now as a solo.
Yep.
Obviously he's headlining it. Steve Austin headlined when he went in. I think that Dan makes a good argument, and that I've been there. I've been at a WrestleMania when the glass shattered unexpectedly, and it was hype. It was hype as fuck. Not gonna lie, the crowd went crazy. I was one of them. Have goosebumps. However, I do think that that's an excitement that comes from, again, a career that had a pinnacle and it had a peak, and the peak is not as consistent, and it doesn't have the longevity, and I just don't think it has the actual overall business impact on the entire industry that Triple H had. And I think the greater legacy here goes to Triple H.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. Look, I am not disrespecting Triple H in any way, shape, or form, but Austin 316 says I just voted for Stone Cold.
I'll disrespect Stone Cold. You peaked.
I'm not doing anything to piss either of these guys off. Stone Cold had, to Scott's point, a great peak, right? It was, again, in my eyes, one of, if not the highest popularity ratings of any professional wrestler ever. The problem is that he did have a lot of false starts with that, right? He had a lot of injuries. He had a lot of situations where, and look, the phrase took his ball and went home in professional wrestling comes from Stone Cold, because he took his ball and went home once upon a time, and it, really fucked with business in that. But it is Stone Cold, and realistically, God damn it. We shouldn't have started top down.
You shouldn't have tried to go last.
Well, I knew this. The problem is that I still don't have an answer. I think Triple H is the king of kings for a reason. It's his work ethic. It's his ability to be in the ring. And he would job for people. Like, that's something that a star doesn't really do very frequently. Like, Triple H would take a fucking bump for just about anybody to help them get over. And I think that has translated into his ability to manage and to, help people rise in their careers now. Steve Austin was one of the best people in the world because the story writes itself. He hated his boss. Fucking everyone hates their boss, right? Everybody wants to be able to stun them. And that also, though, helped to magnify the Mr. McMahon character. I think I have to say it. I think I have to say Triple H gets my vote, man. He's just, I think, a better champion. I think he's a better product that the WWE put out. I love Steve Austin. I absolutely do. But if I'm taking myself out of this and there's only 2 boxes of professional wrestlers in front of me, Triple H is the box I'm grabbing.
Can we also take a second to say that an underrated part of Stone Cold's run was the impeccable throwing of beer from whoever the fuck that guy was?
We have to highlight, right? I talked about Kurt Angle's milk truck. All of that comes directly from Stone Cold's beer truck.
Yeah.
Like, he brought in a legitimate truck of Coors Light and sprayed the entire McMahon family, and I believe Triple H, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, with gallons and gallons, hundreds of gallons of beer. Dude, if I had to just take a professional wrestler's theme song, it would be Stone Cold's, because that glass break is just iconic,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still think you guys made the wrong decision, but
look, maybe one day we'll have to come back and visit this. But for now, Triple H moves on.
Up next, what do we got?
The Heartbreak Kid versus Sting.
That's not his name.
Shawn Michaels.
Okay, I think you should at least say the name along with the nickname.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels
sexy
versus Sting.
So here is another one, because I think that Sting is Dan's absolute favorite wrestler of all time. But it's fucking Shawn Michaels, man. It is somebody who put the business on his back in a time where there weren't a ton of stars anymore and really shined in a lot of ways.
What time are you talking about?
I'm talking kind of post a lot of people leaving for WCW and Shawn Michaels, early 90s.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels really being like the star guy that was left, that not left, but he was elevated, right? I mean, and he definitely did a great job, especially going back to DX.
I was about to say, they still had a large roster of stars. Undertaker was still there.
But there weren't...
Triple H was still there.
Yeah, but you're taking Bret Hart, you're taking,
Steve
Hulk Hogan.
Nash, yeah.
And they're moving over to...
Or Kevin Nash.
Steve Nash is a wildly different person. 6'5", 200-pound basketball player. I actually don't know how tall Steve Nash was. But Shawn Michaels was the guy because of that for a long time and did a really great job with it. One of the best entrances of WrestleMania of all time is Shawn Michaels coming down from the rafters on a zip line.
Mr. WrestleMania.
It was, man, and...
Isn't he one of the only few people to go bell to bell in WrestleMania? Like the first
Royal
entry?
Rumble?
Yeah, Royal Rumble. First entry and win it.
Yes.
Did he do that?
Yeah, he was a number 1 entry once, or number 2 at least. I can double check and look it up.
All right, so while you guys are, glazing Shawn Michaels,
number 1 in 1995.
Okay. Oh,
I think you need to also keep in mind that Sting started way before like the Sting. Well, I mean, in the 80s, the
Crow Sting, but you also have the Surfer Sting.
Yeah, in the 80s, he had the shortcut blonde hair and the makeup right there. But he always had the woo, not Ric Flair's woo, but he would woo too. But he was a huge face to Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen's heel. I remember a match where they had to cuff one of the Four Horsemen to keep them from interfering in Ric Flair's match. Like, that was a huge run for Sting. And then he kind of reinvents himself and he becomes the Crow Sting, which I absolutely loved. I think that he was one of the biggest draws in WCW through that whole time period. He was one of the last people to go to the NWO, which is funny because if you listen to Eric Bischoff, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash came over. They announced that there was going to be a third person in this group, and that was originally supposed to be Sting. But Hulk Hogan was in Hollywood shooting Santa with Muscles. I don't know if you all have ever seen that, Jim. But Hulk Hogan wanted to turn heel and basically forced Eric Bischoff to put him in that role. I mean, it was the right decision, I think, for him to turn heel. I think that made the NWO as special as it was. But the original idea was for Sting to do it. And again, that's just because he is iconic.
He absolutely is. I mean, and look, he was number 2 in this division for a reason. In terms of WCW championships, like, he's second only to Ric Flair. Like, that is, and that's WCW and World Heavyweight, where we know all of those are WCW championships that Sting had. Like, he was their guy. He was WCW's like main go-to. And not just that, I know we're really focusing internally at WWE, but he also did quite a bit of international and travel and did kind of did the on the road kind of breaking your back to get over kind of work. Not a lot of people.
He was still territory. I mean, he started in the territory age technically. Worked for NWA, I believe.
He did. He did. He had 2 NWA World Heavyweight Championships as well. But man, Shawn Michaels, bro, you tuning up the band. Like not only did he really he's inspired every professional wrestler at this point, because everybody fucking uses a super kick, and that all comes from Shawn Michaels. Like, he really elevated the super kick in Sweet Chin Music, but he also helped to elevate and to help invent skinning the cat, right? Like going over the top rope in the Royal Rumble and not letting your feet touch the ground and then coming back over the top rope. Like, that is something that is takes a ridiculous amount of body strength, but also just skill and body control, which is amazing. And Shawn Michaels really was that.
But you all just talked about Triple H and how his career spanned so long. Sting's career has been much longer than Shawn Michaels, and he's also had to deal with terrible injuries.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We're complicated men, and we can have different feelings.
Shawn Michaels' career is still ongoing. He's still making an impact in the business. Technically, they both are. But
But Sting started much earlier than Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels has also dealt with injuries. Have you seen his eye?
Yeah.
Dude, not just his eye. He's had numerous back surgeries.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, he got kicked in the head, and now he can't see straight anymore. Man, this one is tough, though. I'll give you that. I think, like, Sting was the face of WCW, and again, he was a big part of that 83 weeks, right, where WCW was beating WWE. Sure, yeah, for sure.
I'd also like to point out, because I had to Google it when you said it, Dan. Shawn Michaels debuted in the NWA's Mid-South Wrestling territory in 1984. Sting debuted in NWA in 1987. Now, Sting's career was longer because he continued to wrestle up until a year and a half ago, but that was very sporadic. If it wasn't for injuries and things like that, like, Shawn Michaels has been actively involved, especially in talent development in WWE. But Shawn Michaels' last match was what, 2016?
I have no idea.
2018. And that was bald Shawn Michaels. I forgot about that. Forgot he shaved his head. Yeah, I don't know, man. It is difficult. You're absolutely right, because this is kind of the same story, but from a different point of view than Triple H and Stone Cold.
Yeah, the different point of view is that you guys are completely foregoing all the reasons that you voted for Triple H.
No, I'm not. I just said Shawn Michaels is still very active in the business. He's behind the scenes, practically runs NXT. He's developing talent for WWE for futures to come. And that's impact has already happened. Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, that whole trio of, like, that women's division that blew up, that's a product of Shawn Michaels.
And how big of a fan of Charlotte Flair are you?
Gosh, she's fucking terrible, but still.
All right, let's get to the vote on this one, because I think we could go pretty long. Dan, do you want to start us off, because I think we know where you land?
Look, nothing against the Heartbreak Kid, but it's got to be Sting. I think Sting had more of an iconic run than Shawn Michaels did. I think Shawn Michaels has done some really great things, just not like Sting.
Okay. I love Sting. I think this is important.
God damn it.
What? I think it's important to point out that Sting, and especially Crow Sting, is huge for me, right? Like, I never watched when he was the Surfer because you were born 60 years before me, but I loved what he did for the business, and I love what he provided. And man, the Sting watching from the literal crow's nest of any arena to watch people and be that menacing aura is amazing. But I do think that Shawn Michaels, especially as a professional wrestler, was more impactful. And look, I know that most of the last 20 years of his career was really played as a face and very comedic. And one of the absolute best TV segments of all time in WWE was when Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chyna read off a complaint letter from the Turner Network saying, "Oh, you can't say these words on TV." And they literally listed them off on live TV. Just one of the best things. Most of his heel work was also fucking incredible. Like, he could get people to hate him, like insanity. And to be honest, I was just much more of a WWE kid than I was WCW. So I'm gonna throw my vote over to Shawn Michaels.
Well, balls. Okay. I think that, Matt, you make some good points about Shawn Michaels. I mean, he was the wrestler that every woman's husband hated. He, again, I mean, he's got the Heartbreak Kid character persona. He's got, I mean, the classic rivalry with Bret Hart through that. The whole Hart Foundation, really. He's got both DX and great feuds with Triple H as well. They played both sides of that. His feud with Undertaker, I mean, and the WrestleMania matches they had. Him being the special guest referee for Triple H versus Undertaker. I mean, another iconic moment. Him being the one to retire Ric Flair. I'm sorry, I love you. And then, you know, like,
I got legitimate goosebumps. I'm sorry, just like thinking about it.
Shawn Michaels, but there were definitely points, though, I think that kind of damaged him, in that he always was kind of second fiddle. He was if Triple H was number one, he was number 1.5. You know, he's not necessarily number two, but he was number 1.5. You know what I'm saying? And part of the success of DX, I think the greatest percentage of success of DX goes to Triple H. I think Shawn Michaels is second in line behind that, but they wouldn't have any of the success that they did without Badass Billy Gunn and Road Dogg and X-Pac as well. And so, like, it took a lot more to carry that, whereas Sting was always just this, like, solo identity, whether he was the Surfer Sting or he was Crow Sting, or he had some tag team runs and whatever, but, like, he was such an icon for the portion of the business that he maintained. And I think that carries a lot of weight. The brooding in the rafters, it's other people have attempted it. No one's ever done it as well as him, but that's because he had the weight of the Crow to lean on. And I think that a lot of his gimmick was really strongly borrowed from that IP. I think that he couldn't move the needle in TNA enough. I think he didn't move the needle in AEW enough. I think he had a great career. I think he's certainly legendary, but I think in the long run, it's actually Shawn Michaels. Do you like how I kind of built Dan up there and then took it right back down?
I knew you weren't going to vote against Shawn Michaels.
I love Sting to death. I kind of BS'd some of my own endpoints there just to fuck with you. Sting's gimmick was great, and he did move the needle in AEW. AEW itself just couldn't maintain it. But I think that Sting is truly, more than anything, damaged by the fact that he was a WCW guy. And it just
for so long, like to a fault. And I love him for it. But like when WWE bought WCW, as shitty for the business as that was, it was great for WWE, and a lot of people took advantage of it. Sting didn't.
I think if these two people had been in the same company and had a level playing field there, that Sting might be able to put up a fight there. But Shawn Michaels has definitely benefited from the fact that he was in WWE.
So loyalty doesn't mean anything to you guys.
No, absolutely not. I'd replace you on this podcast in a heartbeat.
Well, hold on. I don't like where this is going.
Yeah,
it does, but
hurts.
Like I said, for him, it was almost to a fault, because once WCW got purchased, what did he do? He refused to go to WWE for almost 15 years. Like, and I understand having loyalty, but there's also a business mindset.
He was loyal to nothing at that point.
He made the wrong business decision.
He was loyal to himself. He had morals.
Sure.
And he did not want to go work for Vince McMahon. And as it turns out, Vince McMahon, terrible human being. So
yeah. But it didn't do a whole lot for his career specifically, and that's unfortunately what we were debating. So
selfless guy.
That moves us down into our last division, our modern age division. Starting off, you can't see him because he's a dick. John Cena versus Seth Rollins. This is a...
Go ahead. Sorry.
This is a matchup, man. This is still spanning eras in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I'm with Scott on this.
This is a matchup?
Well, I think you should give some respect.
This is nowhere close.
Do you want to go ahead and get a vote in?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
We're already at 47 minutes recorded of this episode.
Hold on. You got to give a little bit of respect to the man, okay?
Okay.
But John Cena isn't that bad.
No one is saying that anyone here is bad, okay? It's just there's no fucking competition between the two of these when it comes to Legendariest.
Yeah.
I think that it's a mixture.
Have
of
we
things.
said the names? Oh yeah, you did. John Cena and Seth Rollins. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of what I was just going to say, which is these do span a couple different eras, right? John Cena really came into WWE in the Ruthless Aggression era, which was really just the post Attitude Era,
which was also named after his phrase, which he said on his first episode of WWE ever. He said Ruthless Aggression, and then the whole fucking age was named after it.
Anyway, John Cena has more years, and I think that does a lot. But he also was. I'm not trying to take away from the man's impact, dickhead. I'm trying to give flowers to Seth Rollins because I think Rollins...
Because he's dead. Because John Cena's killing him in this matchup.
I think Seth Rollins is the modern age Triple H in a lot of ways. Like, I think that he, at least in the last...
Triple H is the modern age Triple H.
No.
It's a different era completely. Like,
not after the heart attacks.
Like, not just because Seth Rollins uses the pedigree, right? Seth Rollins does a lot of very similar move sets as Triple H, but also the wild heel turns, the turning on Roman Reigns and breaking up the Shield, the constant trying to get a heel character over, but still being loved or love-hated enough that he can just be a crazy man that wears weird coats and people love him. I think Seth Rollins is one of the best wrestlers today. Like, that is a clear point of view in my mind. And in my opinion, if this was reversed with the last matchup that we have, he would beat either of those competitors, in my opinion.
Wait. You think he would beat Shawn Michaels and Sting?
No, I think that he would beat both Roman Reigns or Randy Orton if it was Seth Rollins versus one of them. I think that he's a better wrestler. I think that he's a much better person to work in the ring with, and he has a better character.
I think you make a very compelling argument about the comparisons to Triple H, even getting as specific as the weird jacket thing. With that being said, my vote's John Cena.
Same. John Cena.
Yeah, it's John. It is John Cena, but I still think it's important that we recognize Seth Rollins is a fucking beast. So,
Yes.
With sadness in my heart, John Cena was never my guy. I never enjoyed watching him.
Well, it's a good thing you couldn't see him.
As
What's
Matt
our last
alluded
match,
to,
Hutton?
our last match, Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. Again, this is one where I feel like you're going to say it's a competition, and I'm fine, but I don't see it that way either.
No,
Yeah, same.
I actually completely agree with this one because I don't think Roman Reigns really belongs on this bracket. I think that he's been propped up. I think that he has been lifted to heights because of his lineage and because of his physical stature, way more than he should have been at any point in his career. Randy Orton has been, was, and is the fucking man. Like, if I met anybody on the street on this bracket, I would be most terrified to meet Randy Orton on the street.
Hey, true factual story. One time in the Houston airport, I forget which one because there's two. But anyway, I was there on a Saturday, the day after SmackDown had been in Houston, and fucking Randy Orton walked by me. And it was crazy because if you looked around, there were two different reactions. There were either people who recognized him and went, oh shit, there's Randy Orton. Or there were the people who didn't know who he was and still looked up and went, holy shit, that guy's ginormous. Like,
he was big, dude.
It was insane. He was in this like North Face jacket. I hope he had a warranty on it because there's no way the seams on that fucking jacket were going to stay in place. It was insane, the size of him.
Scott had to work very hard to hide his erection in the airport.
Why bother hiding it?
If looking.
If he wanted it, I wasn't going to be able to stop him. I mean, dude, it was insane. Yeah, everyone's looking up at Randy Orton anyway. I think that if at any point in time Paul Heyman ever carried a WWE championship, he would have a greater point being on this bracket than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, his entire legacy is, God forbid we ever meet Roman Reigns in person. His entire legacy is what has been handed to him. It's not necessarily like a nepotism, although you could make the argument.
Yeah,
but like
the argument could be made.
It's so fucking close. Like he doesn't contribute anything to the business. He has not coined a catchphrase. He's not elevated it. The Shield was great, but again, he was positioned as the face of it, as the leader. He was the one in the center. But
Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins,
or Dean Ambrose, honestly, either one of them like could have done that better. He's just, it's all been the positioning that he's been put in. It's whereas Randy Orton, again, he's had to pivot, he's had to swivel, he's been heel, he's been face, he's been comedic, he's been the legend killer, he's been feared, he's been in a tag team with R-Truth. Like he's done everything.
I think
go ahead, sorry.
I thought you had made your point, so I started talking.
I had one more point.
Go for it.
He should be the one to retire John Cena. Point blank.
1,000%. He should absolutely be the last match with John Cena. Fuck CM Punk. It should be RKO versus John Cena. And it should be face RKO versus heel John Cena.
Oh, yeah.
And it should include a punt. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other thing, man. Like, I was going to bring it up, but the legend killer Randy Orton is one of the most deranged seeming characters of all time.
100%.
And it is so intriguing. Like, to watch him throw Mick Foley down a set of stairs somehow, and it's Mick Foley, so he's obviously crazy, but he made it look so just vicious and malicious. And one of the things that I have for Randy Orton, and I'm not saying, because Roman Reigns, first of all, let me give a little bit to Roman Reigns. His best character is happening in the last 3 years in WWE, 4 years. It is his not saying anything, letting Paul Heyman talk to him, and just being a towering bastion of fucking, intimidation is what I was going to say. That's been his best character, and it's worked really, really well, and they've built a ton of really good storylines out of it.
Yeah, but you know who else was able to pull off that character? Great Khali could pull off that character. Bobby Lashley could pull off that character. And Brock Lesnar that's the only character Brock Lesnar's ever been.
I was going to say, Bobby Lashley does it much, much better. With that being said, Randy Orton, I have an incredible amount of respect for that man. Just simply from what he's had to like fight through and go through, becoming the fucking essentially future face of the company with Evolution, very, very early, very young, going through some substance abuse stuff, I believe, or that might be just alleged, but like fighting back to being an amazing dad. If you ever watch his videos on like Instagram and stuff, the dude is hilarious, like with his family. And being a great person to work with. Like, I think that is very clear from everybody he's in the ring with. So
there's a reason why he got the role of Legend Killer. And it's because he was the safest.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to put those old guys up in the ring to do a maneuver, you want the person who's going to protect them, who's going to be able to pull off the move and hold them in the right position with the strength that's needed to be able to do the move and the old guy not get hurt. And he was that guy. And he could be a psychopath.
And Edge did the exact same thing when he came back from a fucking career-ending neck surgery.
Can we go back? Why did we put Roman Reigns over The Miz? Because you know who else has done a lot of shit like that? The Miz. The Miz was also him and Heath Slater. They were both go-to guys for WWE when it came to dealing with legends and having them in the ring, because both of them could do it anyway. Yeah, I think we're ready for a vote.
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
Look, Roman Reigns beat cancer and beat The Miz, but he's not beating Randy Orton.
I'd also like to just point out, Roman didn't beat cancer, but Joe beat cancer, and I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the cancer was acknowledged on WWE television, which technically means that it was kayfabe too.
It was, yes, but he said, Roman Reigns didn't do this, but my name is Joe, whatever his last name is. He said, I am the one with cancer and have to step away.
So he like pulled it back. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. Pulled back the curtain a little bit. But either way, Randall Kenneth Orton moves forward.
RKO out of nowhere.
Son of Bob Orton, dude. Like, anyway.
Yeah, he's a legacy. Third generation, right? When was the grandfather a wrestler too? Yeah. All right. We didn't come up with a nickname for the 8.
Electrifying 8.
Enigmatic. The Electric 8. Electrifying 8.
So we're down to that.
We're down to the Electrifying 8 now. Next week, we will have 4 matchups. We will get down to we don't have a final 4 either. Figure 4. We'll get down to a figure 4.
Yeah, the figure 4.
Fatal 4.
I guess that is a match. Fatal 4-way. We'll get down to a fatal 4. All right. Let's see. What do we got? As usual, we got to thank Aaron O'Donnell from Aaron O'Donnell Music for the sounds that you heard at the beginning and end of every episode. You can find him on YouTube. Got that out of the way. I want to thank everyone for listening, especially the people that we alienated who don't know anything about pro wrestling and have been listening just for the sake of getting to hear us disappoint Dan when we voted for Triple H over Steve Austin.
I also want to say that if you don't watch wrestling and somehow listening to this bracket made you decide, you know what, I'm going to check it out, let us know. I think that would be really interesting because there's so much to professional wrestling. And I want to know that we've touched some people.
We want to hear your thoughts on Logan Paul as a pro wrestler.
Gross.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for engaging with us on the social medias. You can find us on the Facebooks, on the TikToks, on the Blue Sky, on Instagram. You can check out Matt and I streaming on Twitch from time to time periodically. We'll play some It Takes Two or some Repo a lot right now. We're going to get Dan's working eventually. Is that everything? Is that an episode?
I think.
Excuse me. I'm Scott.
I have to say this because I forgot to say it earlier, but when you were giving Roman Reigns a bunch of shit, all I could imagine, and then you said, I hope we don't ever meet Roman Reigns in real life. All I could imagine is Roman Reigns power bombing you through the announce table, and it truly made me happy. But I'm too cool, Matt Robinson.
And it still doesn't matter what your name is, because I'm Dan Default.
Bye-bye.